Bobcats win the faceoff as they won most in the third period. Pass complete. Lipkin has a man in front. Shot score! Life-changing moment for Rand Pecknold, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. You see how emotional he is. Their first national championship in program history comes 10 seconds into overtime, and two of their best players make it happen. Complete devastation for the Golden Gophers. Complete elation for Rand Pecknold. You can see tears in his eyes. He's finally done it on his third try. And now he'll shake the hands of a devastated Bob Motzko, who perhaps was hanging around just in case there was a review. But now Motzko shakes his hand and shows the great sportsmanship. These Bobcat players, we talked about their fitness and their training. It carried over into the first 10 seconds. What a backhand pass from Lipkin to Jacob Quillan, who produced Barry from the drop of the puck in Bridgeport. He kept producing.
Welcome back to another edition of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. Today we're joined by Quinnipiac forward, national champion, Sam Lipkin. Sam, how you doing, man? Great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Honestly, you guys are having an unbelievable season. I mean, so fun to watch you guys play. The chemistry you guys have. Off to another great start. 16-3-1 in the ECAC, and then an overall record of 23-7-2. What's been the main area of focus this season? Especially coming off the national championship, coming off that high of that storybook ending. What's been the recipe for success for you guys?
Yeah, it's honestly been pretty simple. Obviously, coming off a national championship, a lot of distractions, a lot going on. But yeah, no, for us, it was kind of just let's get back to basics. We have a great culture at Quinnipiac, and obviously that was a really big moment for the school and program. But I think we've done a good job kind of turning the page pretty quick. Obviously being able just to evolve with the new guys. And our team's been really good this year. So just kind of stick to what we do best. So.
Man, I want to get into that game because honestly, that probably could have been the game of the year last year in any hockey game. I mean, unbelievable. It was constant back and forth, went right down to the wire. You guys were a wagon. Minnesota was a wagon. Jack Quillan scores that game-winning goal in OT. Take us through that moment of what you remember. Jumping out on the ice, going with the boys, and that celebration after. I can't imagine how wild that was.
Yeah, Minnesota was a great team. Credit to them. They had a great season last year. Great team again this year. It was a battle of probably the two best teams all year, I thought.
Yeah.
That kind of all game, kind of just back and forth action. 2-2 overtime, national championship. It can't get much better than that.
Right, dude.
Then going to the play, obviously, that was a kind of set play for me. Kind of just had a lot of space, a little bit more than games prior, chances prior to that. Then to be honest, kind of blacked out on the pass.
Yeah.
And the whole celebration. But it was a great time, and just being able to do it for the school and in a fashion like that. 10 seconds, pretty good. So
how crazy are the fans at Quinnipiac, man? Are they big hockey fans? Like, how crazy was it being able to bring that natty back to the school and celebrate with all the other students and, faculty and whatnot?
Yeah, Quinnipiac's a big hockey school. It's kind of the big thing on campus. be able to bring home that trophy. It was a special day. They had a whole ceremony kind of planned out for us. The rink was honestly packed when we brought the trophy in.
Dude,
Great atmosphere. We sell out pretty much every home game. So is really big for the Quinnipiac fans.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, I think Jack Hughes kind of stole the celebration from Jack Quillan, right? Like throwing the stick in the crowd, like probably the best celly of last year. Like, how cool was it? Obviously, that video kind of went viral. He was able to get that stick back, man. Like, how cool was that for him? How excited was he to get that back?
Yeah, Quill was waiting for a while. The person kind of was going back and forth with a person within our organization trying to get a hold of it. But yeah, to be able to get something so big like that,
dude.
Yeah, I honestly don't think he meant to actually send into the crowd. I think it was just pure excitement. But Celly was unbelievable. That
so sick
with Selanne. That's kind of what you dream about when you're a little kid.
Yeah, dude, unreal. And you guys are coached by a guy who's viewed as one of the top coaches in college hockey. He's been doing this for so long. Rand Pecknold. Again, what makes Coach Pecknold so special to play for? And what would you say in your eyes is the best part about playing for him?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things. I've had a great experience with Coach Rand over these past year and a half. He brings a personal side and also a hockey side. I think that having a good relationship with not only your coach but as a person, I think it helps everyone within the team, and I think he does a great job with our other coaches, Joe Dume, Mike Corbett, just getting us prepared every week, keeping us in a tight focus. He's Mr. Serious, and all the boys get behind him, and we have a great culture that kind of just pushes that. And he's got something special, so he's been doing it a long time. So
yeah, dude, absolute legend. Like everything you hear about him, nothing but good things to say from his players, other coaches, just people in hockey media and whatnot. But man, I was going up and down this Quinnipiac roster, all you guys, and it's just loaded from top to bottom. Incredibly talented kids. Yourself this season, 12 goals, 20 assists for 32 points. Collin Graf, obviously, he's the big college free agent, probably the top, in everyone's eyes. Fourth in the country with 19 goals, 24 assists. And then obviously you mentioned Jack with 13 goals, 25 assists. Aside from the unreal stats that you guys are putting up, what makes you guys such a nightmare to play against? And what makes you guys so difficult to match up against?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Quills brings a lot of physicality, and he's hard on pucks, can bury pucks. And obviously, Graf being probably up for the Hobie Baker this year. He's been unbelievable this year. He's just very dynamic. Leads our offense, leads our team. I think we kind of just do the little things. I think reliable in all three zones, playing any situations. That makes us versatile. So it's been great playing with those guys, and those guys are my best friends on and off the ice. So
yeah, you guys seem like you have an unbelievable relationship. You mentioned not only on the ice but off the ice as well. Year and a half you've been playing with Collin Graf. You mentioned he's going to be up for the Hobie Baker. There's no question about that. Right now I mentioned he's viewed as one of the top free agents available. I think every single team is going to try to make a run at him. What has made him so special? You mentioned his game on the ice, but what kind of person and what kind of teammate would an NHL team be getting if they signed him?
Yeah, I think he's a great guy. He has an unbelievable work ethic. Comes into the rink every day with a great mood. We like messing around after practice with each other on the power play. Just little things like that. He's a student of the game, and I think any team that picks up a guy like that, it's going to be a positive impact pretty much right away. He's a great player. So
yeah, you mentioned how passionate the Quinnipiac fans are. How how crazy your barn gets, man. Aside from, your home arena, what's your favorite barn that you've played in so far in your in the past year and a half?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's a few good ones. Probably away was North Dakota. That trip was pretty early last year, and playing at the Ralph's pretty special. And that was also a great series. I think we were 5 and they were 3, so it was a great matchup. Yeah. Then probably
I actually remember that one, dude. That was a sick matchup.
Yep.
They're rowdy. They're rowdy as hell too, dude.
Yeah, I think it was probably a 6,000 student section warm-ups coming right out under the tunnel. So
how bad were you getting chirped?
Yeah, it was brutal. They're ruthless and they love their team and they have a great support system. Yeah, it's pretty much an NHL size rink. So
yeah,
shout out to them.
So, transitioning to your early days of, starting out playing hockey, who would you credit as the one or the ones to ultimately get you into the game and help you in falling in love with this game and all, giving you this opportunity to play Division I hockey and get drafted?
Yeah. So, definitely my dad's number one. He's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. So, got it in his blood. Started me early. He was the guy that kind of put me a hockey stick in my hand and skates on my feet. So credit to him for everything. But a couple guys. My agent John Owsley too. Very
such
close.
A good guy, man.
He's
such a good guy.
Great guy to have in your corner. Vinny Smith, coach of Long Island Goals. I played for him 16U year. He kind of pushed me to the path of playing Chicago. And really set my sight for Division I hockey. So, those were a few. But, I've had a lot of good people throughout the years in my corner. So it's kind of been a combination of everyone.
That makes it all the better, man, having tons of people in your corner helping you out. Man, I had no idea. I was looking at Elite Prospects, man, and saw that you were from Philly, which is so sick, man. Like, Flyers are up and coming right now. Did you grow up a Flyers fan?
Yeah, so I'm going to get some hate for this, but I was a Flyers and Penguins fan growing up. Just being a student of the game, watching Crosby. He's an unbelievable player, but it's great to see them have some recent success and rebuild that Flyers organization because, the fans of Philly so passionate. So it's great to see them up and coming.
They're wild. I've said this, man. Philadelphia is one of my favorite setups as far as all the arenas go. Like, it's very rare that you have every single major sports team in one area, and it's just such a cool area to go. Like, Wells Fargo is sick, dude. When I was stationed in Delaware, we used to go watch the Bruins there all the time.
Yep. Yeah, South Philly special. I work out probably 10 minutes away from there, so I pass it every time. So it's really cool.
You mentioned loving the Penguins and the Flyers. Growing up, who was your favorite player? And then kind of as far as any player in the NHL, who's a guy that you kind of emulate your game after, see a little bit of yourself in?
Yeah, so probably growing up, number one guy is probably a little bit of Sidney Crosby. Just the way he thinks, little things, 200-foot player. Just a guy that seriously does nothing wrong, winner. But now I think it's kind of changed a little bit. I think I watch a lot of guys. A guy I like is Matthew Tkachuk or a Rope Hintz, kind of two-way forward, scores goals, physical, just kind of does everything, all the little things right. Those are a few guys that kind of just watch.
Awesome, man. As you were coming up, man, when did you realize that you had a legitimate shot at, playing Division I hockey? I mean, you're at one of the top college hockey programs in the country, right? And was there a certain point that you were playing at such a high level that you're like, holy shit, I have a legitimate chance at, making this a profession?
I think it was my 16th year, North Jersey Avalanche. I was able to get drafted by the Chicago Steel, play some affiliate games. They were unbelievable that year. Bunch of guys like Jordan Brisson, Power, Coronato, Sam Miskevich. That
was a loaded team, dude.
Yeah, so be able to go up, skate with them. That kind of just proved to me that I belonged and I could have a future in that. Then obviously playing my first year in Chicago, I felt good. So
How pivotal was that, playing for Chicago, going against those guys? You mentioned Owen Power on defense, right? Like, you're going against him every day in practice. These other guys that you mentioned, how pivotal was, those matchups day in and day out, and how crucial were they for, your development?
yeah, I think my first year in Chicago was big. We were really good. It was tough to get in the lineup, but the practices were unbelievable. Kind of became almost harder than the games. Just competing with such a high skill level, and just being around those types of guys kind of push you even more. And we had a great environment. We had a great setup with a great training staff. So with a combination like that, it's almost hard not to get better.
Yeah, 100%, man. And your last season with the Chicago Steel, you wore the C, which is an incredible honor. I mean, for any team, right? And during your 21-22 season, you had an unreal year: 36 goals, 35 apples, 71 points in 59 games. Man, like, what was it, how big of an honor was it to wear that C, and be the captain of that team? And what would you say what was the biggest factor for your success that season?
Yeah, obviously we're in a C for Chicago. It was a dream of mine. Once I kind of got in the organization, kind of fell in love with the team. Kind of had big shoes to fill, and that's always exciting.
Yeah.
And playing for such a good team that's won so many games. I think 2 Clark Cups, lots of Eastern Conference championships. So it was great for me, and it was great for my development. And going into that second year, kind of just having high expectations and working hard and getting better kind of just led to the success. And we had a great team, and had a lot of great line mates that helped with that too.
Yeah. You also get the opportunity in the year after that, 22-23, to play in the U20 World Juniors. Talk to us about what that experience was like. Obviously playing with the best of your age group, the Americans, and then obviously, as far as competition goes, playing against other countries' best players. What was that experience like for you, dude?
Yeah, that was probably one of the best moments of my life. That was my first time being able to represent USA on international stage. That was something you kind of watch growing up. World Juniors, Christmas time.
Dude, 100%.
So it was great. Then being able to compete against those other fellow Americans, but also you were playing against Connor Bedard, Leo Carlson, Adam Fantilli. Great competition, and it was just honestly so much fun, and is a experience I'll never forget.
What, dude, talk about playing against those guys. Like, what was it like seeing those guys do what they do? You got, obviously at Fantilli was, at Michigan. But you mentioned Bedard, Leo Carlson's playing in the show right now. Like, what was it like seeing those guys out there doing their thing?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously you want to be against the best, see the best. Yeah. Just competing against those guys. It's great. And it's always good to put yourself up against those type of guys that are playing at the highest level and see what you can do against them.
So kind of going back to your time in Chicago, after your last season in Chicago, you ultimately, you go to Quinnipiac. What was it about Quinnipiac that drew you to that institution? Like, what were your favorite parts about your first visit there, and what made you fall in love with it?
Yeah, I think it was just they were really upfront to me about my game. I think we had a good vision of where they saw me and the player that I could be, and it was a great campus. I love Hamden. The rink's beautiful with the renovations coming in too.
Yeah,
it just seemed like a place on the rise, and obviously Rand and our staff are great, and being able to be around them every day has been an honor. So I made a great decision, and Quinnipiac's been nothing but great to me.
Yeah, dude, you made a hell of a decision. You had an unreal freshman campaign. You obviously won the Natty. We talked about it. Like, put up 14 goals, 29 assists, 43 points. Man, what was your biggest takeaway from your first season? And then to kind of caveat off that, what were some areas that you kind of realized that you really wanted to zero in the off season to kind of focus on improving?
Yeah, being able to be a part of that national championship team was something special. We had a bunch of fifth-year guys that kind of bled for the program. A lot of hard losses throughout the years, but to be able for them to finish on top was just made it a little bit more sweet. So it was kind of just fit in. I think I was just honestly a piece of the puzzle to a great team. We had a bunch of great guys, great leadership group, and obviously winning the national championship can't get much better.
Man, you mentioned the unreal leadership that you had. I had the opportunity to go to Buffalo and watch the Prospect Challenge, and a guy that really stood out to me was Zach Metza. Kind of a guy that I think is super underrated in his game. Like, obviously, he's with Buffalo right now. Man, talk to us about what it was like playing with Zach and what kind of player he is.
Yeah, he's a great defenseman, great person. He was honestly the ultimate captain, Mr. Quinnipiac. He represented this school, and he was awesome to me. And on the ice, very dynamic, very reliable. I think he probably logged 35-minute games like it was nothing back-to-back nights.
He was a workhorse.
Yeah, shutting down team's best line. So I think he's a very underrated guy. But a guy like that finds his way. So.
Yeah, and obviously you were selected by Arizona in the 2021 draft. Unbelievable, dream come true for you. Talk to us about what you remember from that day. When you got the call, like what was going on, and what was that moment like for you and your family?
Yeah, we were all watching. I had a few close buddies came over just to watch. Obviously getting a little late. Kind of got a little bit nervous, but obviously once that call came, the whole house kind of went nuts, going crazy. Just a lot of close friends, people of mine reaching out. It was a great day, and I'm proud to be a part of the Arizona Coyotes support position.
So unreal, dude. Kind of last question I got for you, man. We have a lot of younger listeners, kids that love college hockey, follow you guys. What would be your biggest piece of advice to these kids coming up, playing the game? And what would be your biggest piece of advice if they want to take their game to the next level and ultimately play, whether it's junior, USHL or college hockey? What would be your biggest piece of advice to them be?
Probably he's got to be just get 1% better each day. I feel like it's a pretty common thing, but I think it's very true. I think just focusing on yourself and getting better each day and finding new ways to improve your game is how you get better and how you get noticed. And just have a good attitude and bring good energy to the rink. So
love that, man. 1% better every day. I never thought about that. I love that though. Man, I can't thank you enough. Obviously, I know you're in the middle of school and grinding with hockey and classes. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your schedule. And I'm really excited to see you guys make another run at the Natty. And I wish you guys the best.
Of course, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, Sam. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, you too.
That was Sam Lipkin of the Quinnipiac Bobcats, national champion. They're going to be making another run at the Natty this year. Absolute wagon. You can catch this episode on all any platform that you listen to your podcast on. It's also on YouTube. Recording a little bit late today. It's 12:52 right now. Just got done watching the Edmonton Oilers game. What a finish in that game. Connor McDavid, sick of getting so many assists, he decided to take it upon himself and score an unbelievable goal on Jordan Binnington. Great finish to that game. But before we get into anything, we had, with the trade deadline coming up, we had our first big trade where Chris Tanev going to the Dallas Stars, who already has a phenomenal decor. The details of that trade from Frank Saravelli going to the Dallas Stars is Chris Tanev with 75% retained, and Cole Brady to the Calgary Flames, a 2024 second-round pick, Artem Grushnikov, a conditional 2026 third-round pick, 50% retained of Tanev, and to the New Jersey Devils, a 2026 fourth-round pick from the Dallas Stars with 25% retained on Tanev. Listen, I think this is a great deal. I don't think this is an overpay at all. There was a lot of speculation that he might be worth a first-round pick, as well as some other pieces. I don't think this is an overpay at all. I think this is a really good deal for the Dallas Stars, adding Tanev to that already phenomenal decor that they got going on. Again, and then for Calgary, I mean, they get Grushnikov, who I read from Stephen Ellis, who, if you guys don't know him, does a phenomenal job covering all prospects. He was unbelievable during the World Juniors covering all those guys. Says that he's going to be pretty much a defenseman who he's just going to be a filler, not really a starting defenseman, a depth D-man. But they also get that second-round pick this season for this draft, as well as that third-round pick. So I like this trade, honestly, for Dallas. I think they're getting a solid D-man in Tanev. Although he is 34 years old, I think he's going to be really effective. And I think he's going to really help this Dallas Stars team going forward. I know there's going to be a bunch of other trades coming up. I mean, with the trade deadline being on the 8th, this is just the beginning. I feel like there's going to be a lot more dominoes to fall. Some other big names are being tossed around. We've obviously got some Bruins news that I'm going to get into a little bit later in the episode. But yeah, I think there's going to be some other big dominoes to fall in the coming days. And we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. And I know it's always an exciting time of year, with deadline. So we got some other news as well, kind of around the same time as this trade, and also reported by Frank Saravelli that the Canucks have made significant progress with Elias Pettersson on an 8-year extension. I mean, you got to think this is huge for the Canucks. I mean, he is a pivotal piece to this team, and it looks like everything's kind of happened pretty fast. I mean, last week we heard that they weren't making any headway, and he didn't want to necessarily be with Vancouver, and now we're hearing that they're making significant progress. So this is awesome news for the Canucks. For Pettersson, he's going to get a huge payday. Moving on, I kind of wanted to first off congratulate friend of the pod, Logan Stankoven. Obviously made his NHL debut last week. Have gotten the opportunity to watch every single one of his games so far. And obviously he's been ripping it up in the AHL. He got the call up finally. Been playing on a line with Wyatt Johnston, who himself being a young buck, having an unbelievable season himself, and as well as Jamie Benn. Want to congratulate him on his first NHL goal. He's actually got, he's gotten 2 goals so far in 3 games. He's gotten an assist. He's a +1. Playing with a guy like Jamie Benn, who's a phenomenal leader, the captain of that Dallas Stars team. I really would like to see him stay up with the team. I know right now with Tyler Seguin injured, I'm curious to see what they do when he is healthy. But I really hope they can keep Logan up in the lineup. I think he can really help this team. And I posed the question today: had Logan been in the lineup all season, I legitimately think that he would make a run at the Calder Trophy, especially with the injury to Connor Bedard, where he broke his jaw. And how Logan is playing at this point in time, I really like that line with Jamie Benn and Wyatt Johnston. Wyatt Johnston's unbelievable. His playmaking ability. Obviously, Logan is a shooter. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. And Jamie Benn being the guy he is, the unbelievable captain, unbelievable leader. What better guy to mentor these 2 young kids? yeah, overall, just congrats to Logan. Love to see it. It was awesome to see. And I know the sky is literally the limit for this kid. So wanted to give him a little shout out. We got to talk to him right before the season. And right off the bat, just what he does for his community, and just an unbelievable guy, unbelievably mature. Excited to see him get some, get some time in the show. Moving on to the PWHL, some huge news was released today at 7 p.m. The PWHL unveiled its 4-team playoff format. In addition to that, they've decided to halt talk of expansion. So there's a lot of factors that are kind of in this that I'm going to kind of be reading off the list here. And honestly, it was very popular, at least on Twitter, from what I was reading. And myself, I'm a huge fan. I think they're doing a really good job, in how they're doing this whole setup. I think it's going to be unbelievably effective, and the way that they've set this whole league up has been unbelievable. So kind of to go down the list for the 2024 playoffs, the top 4 teams in the regular season standing qualify for the playoffs. The first place team will have a 24-hour window to select its semifinal opponent. That is so cool. It's so sick. I never thought that would ever be a concept, but I think that's so cool. The semifinals and the championship will be played as a best-of-5 series. In addition to that, the higher seeds will have home ice advantage for games 1, 2, and 5. Also, games requiring overtime will be decided by playing 5-on-5 periods until a winning goal is scored. Awesome stuff. I'm loving this concept of the 24-hour window for the first place team to select its opponent. I think that's so cool. It's a new idea. We haven't seen anything like that, and I think that's just such a sick concept. Moving on to some other news within the PWHL that was released at the same time in regard to the 2024 draft. They call this the Gold Plan. The Gold Plan will assign the first pick to the non-playoff team that accrues the most points following its elimination from playoff contention. In addition to that, once a team is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, it begins earning draft order points, in quotes. The team with the most draft order points at the conclusion of the regular season will earn the first selection in each round of the draft. They're getting so creative with this, and I'm so here for it, and it's such a sick concept. They're doing an unbelievable job. It's so creative, and it's going to keep teams engaged because they have something to actually play for, rather than just completely tanking. And because the idea of that, the lottery is great, but this is an unbelievable concept. And this is awesome. Like I said, this is for the PWHL announcing the 2024 playoff, as well as how they're going to be doing the draft, got released about 10 hours ago. And it was really well received throughout the whole, especially like Twitter community. I didn't see really any negativity or just nothing really. No one was really saying anything bad about the ideas of doing this. And I'm like I said, I'm here for it. I think it's super creative. I love what they're doing with that league. I've gotten the opportunity to watch quite a few games, and it's an unbelievable league. I'm excited about, where they're going to take this. Although they have halted the expansion talks, but I do recognize that they're trying to get all these other things in place before they start adding, and I can respect that. So the last thing I wanted to bring up is earlier this week we had some incredibly sad news as the actor from the movie Miracle, Kenneth Mitchell, who played the iconic role of Ralph Cox, passed away on the 24th at the age of 49 years old from ALS. And he just the way that he played that role, Kenneth was well loved. All the guys from the movie Miracle, offered their condolences. Just an iconic role that he played and played it so well. Just super sad to see. So I wanted to obviously offer my condolences to the Mitchell family. Obviously, ALS is a terrible, terrible thing. Never want to see anyone go through that. It's one of the worst diseases. And yeah, definitely shocking. I mean, people within the hockey world, everyone, I mean, from, John Buchacross, the list goes on and on, offered their condolences. He played that role so unbelievably, and you kind of just fell in love with the character, as obviously with Ralph being a real person, a tough role being the last one cut from that 1980 team, and just played the role so well. And just again offer my condolences to the entire Mitchell family, friends and family of Kenneth as well. Kind of looking back and looking forward a little bit. Obviously, next week we've got the trade deadline, with this episode dropping on the 29th, the last day of February. I can't believe we're already in March. The trade deadline is going to be next Friday, the 8th. And I anticipate we're going to have a lot of news, a lot of trades happening. Really excited for it. Always an exciting time of year. But that wraps up episode 34 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast. Once again, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. You heard the latest news from this week with the NHL, the PWHL, as well as national champion Sam Lipkin joining the pod. Awesome kid, unbelievable stories. Just hearing about that, that natty win gave me chills. So yeah, once again, that wraps up episode 34. I can't thank you guys enough for, tuning in. This wouldn't be possible without all of you. But yeah, until next week, really excited for next week. We got some really exciting news coming up. But hope you guys all have a great weekend, and take care, everyone. Be safe out there. Love you guys.